So what's the best CrossFit cross-training shoes for weightlifting?
We've been trying to figure that out for the last 5 months, and the shoes we tested include
the Nike Metcon 5 and 6s, the Reebok Nano X1s, Nobles, the Innovates, Puma Fuse, and the GoRucks, in search of the best overall cross-training shoe. We collected a ton of data about all of these shoes before we even put them on. We measured their length, width, we weighed them. Aaron bought a durometer just so we could test the hardness of the insoles, and he also bought an anemometer and a leaf blower to test out the breathability of every shoe. Kind of strange, but hey, that's what we do. We spent hours measuring the thickness of every shoe, measuring laces, the heel collar, you get the idea. Real reviews. Now, a huge part of cross-training is weightlifting, and not all of us weightlift enough to own a pair of lifters. Usually, if you enjoy cross-training style workouts, you won't have enough time to change between your WOD shoes into lifters anyway. So, being able to transition smoothly from gymnastics movements or something basic like running into some heavy lifting in a Metcon is going to be really important. When picking a shoe for workouts that involve weightlifting, there's a few things to consider, like hardness, toe box width, and most importantly, drop. The hardness of the insole of your shoe will play an important part in transferring power from your feet through your body. So you're going to want a harder insole, something that won't absorb your power, but transfer it. Of all these shoes, the 3 with the hardest insole are going to be the Nike Metcon 5s at 57 duros in the heel and 40 in the ball of the foot, the Metcon 6s at 51 duros in the heel and 40 in the ball of the foot, and the GoRucks with the thinner insole at 50 duros for the heel and ball of foot. Next, we took into account the toe box width. And this is important because when weightlifting, you want to be able to really ground yourself to get into a stable position. Usually, you'll think about gripping the floor with your toes or spreading your toes a bit. So you'd want a shoe with a wider toe box that gives you enough room to do so and just feel stable all around. And the top 3 for this would be the Innovates, the Puma Fuse, and the GoRucks. And finally, the drop. This one might be the most important of the 3. Why? Well, because have you seen the shoes weightlifters use? The drop of a shoe is the difference in height between the ball of the foot and the heel. Basically, the bigger the drop, the thicker the heel. Now, the reason why weightlifters use these shoes is because they offer more stability and allow them to maintain good posture throughout a lift. An elevated heel can also help with mobility at the bottom of the squat, which is a position where we're usually catching our heaviest lifts. The top 3 shoes with the highest drop are going to be the Metcon 6s with the hyperlift, the Metcon 5s also with the hyperlift, and the Innovates. So on paper, the best weightlifting shoe would be the Nike Metcon 6s, since these shoes check off 2 out of the 3 boxes of criteria we decided to score these shoes on for this video. But since we're reviewers and not influencers, we went and did a bunch of workouts with all these shoes.
So after we went through all the stuff on paper, Val and I, well, we've been using these shoes for months now, and we went and picked our top 3. My top 3 include the Metcon 5s, the GoRucks, technically, and the 6s, as well as the Reebok Nano X1s. Those are my top 3. Now we're going to do a quick snatch complex to kind of gauge which one we actually like the best. Val, what'd you go with?
Metcon 6, Innovates, and the GoRucks.
She's wearing the Innovates right now and the GoRucks. So we don't exactly agree on the shoes, and so we're doing 4 rounds, each with the different shoes, and we're going to test. She likes the Innovates, I like the Reebok Nano X1, so we're going to do a complex with those as well, just to kind of see the who's right, we'll say. So we just basically spent the last hour learning that we don't know how to squat below parallel.
Yes, I do.
So between the 4 different pairs of shoes, we're going to go chat about it. There is a clear winner, right, Val?
Yes.
There is a clear winner, but we're still arguing about who comes in second, who comes in third, but mostly I'm right. So anyways, we're going to do the debrief right after this. So we meant right away, we meant 5 weeks later because our NAS died that week of that we were filming everything. So, and you could definitely tell the time difference because my pubescent stash has gotten mildly thicker. So 5 weeks has passed.
Which is a good thing for you guys because we've added another 5 weeks of workouts to all the shoes.
So after all that, we've come to the conclusion that who makes the best shoe?
The Metcons are the best.
The Nike Metcons are the best for weightlifting. Specifically, the Metcon 5s, not the 6s, the 5s.
For Aaron, the 5s. For me, the 6s.
And the only reason why we can say that is because Val doesn't, oh no, you've got a pair of 5s.
Yes, I do.
So now I'm kind of curious, why do you like the 6s over the 5s?
So the only reason why I like the 6s over the 5s is because of the mesh that is like a little looser. Like those feel just super rigid around my foot.
Okay.
And these kind of like, you can kind of move your foot around a little bit, which is nice. That's the only reason though.
Only reason why I like the 5s over the 6s is because the heel and the insole of the heel is much stiffer. And so I find lifting with the Metcon 6s when compared to the 5s, it doesn't feel the same. Right, but it's still better than all the other shoes that we've tested. But if you can get a pair of Metcon 5s, from my perspective, that are on sale.
I just remembered something though. The laces never stay tied on the 5s.
That's true.
That's another big one for the 6s for me. The laces actually stay tied.
Triple knot. So that's my top pick. My next pick is the Nanos. I don't like the Nanos for anything else but the weightlifting. They've got a higher drop, which is nice, and the soles are pretty thick, and so you get a good amount of power transfer. So that's my number 2 pick. What's your number 2 pick?
Mine is the Innovates. So my top 3 actually didn't include the Nanos until we did that last workout. And the only reason why I think the Innovates win over the Nanos is because of this thing. Like it holds your foot in place, and I don't feel like my foot is like moving around all over the place. Like when I was squatting with these, when I'd set up for the squat, it was like my feet were like
doing this?
Yeah, like going like this and kind of like going over this mesh thing. Like it just felt really unstable and uncomfortable. So that's why the Innovates are number 2 for me.
Quickly, what do we both think about the Puma Fuses?
They suck.
They're so bad.
They're so bad.
Okay, so for number 2, I chose the Nanos. Val chooses the Innovates. Number 3 is going to, I ranked the Innovates lower than the Nanos. I do like the drop on it, but the cushioning for this entire product is just way too soft for weightlifting specifically.
And 3 for me was the Nanos because they are pretty hard, so they feel like solid when you're weightlifting, but then when your foot moves around, it's just distracting.
How often does your foot do this when you're weightlifting?
Are you implying that I'm doing it wrong?
It's just an honest question.
Well, no, when you set up for a lift, you kind of like move your feet around to find that spot. No?
Interesting.
Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
It's just personal preference at this point in time. And the shoes that fell out of our favor were both for us the GoRucks, specifically for weightlifting. And that's really sad for me because I really enjoy using this pair of shoes literally for everything else.
I really like these too. Like they're super comfortable.
In some of the footage, B-roll footage in this video, I tried to do the age group qualifier workout, number 3, I think, the cleans and double unders in 50 minutes. And out of all the shoes, I decided to go with the GoRuck. Didn't have to do squats, so I didn't care about the drop. It's just a solid shoe, but specifically for weightlifting, for CrossFit, if that's your focus. But honestly, like these 2 shoes, like, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I think very highly of these 2 products. So if you're finding our video useful, definitely get your stuff through our links because Nothing we do is sponsored. That's what we do. We're reviewers, we're not influencers, so that we do all this so that you don't have to waste your money and you don't have to listen to people carrying around really big muscles with their protein things saying they're sponsored by certain companies that you should believe them because they look pretty. We don't have a Patreon for this channel, but we have a Patreon for the other channel, so we'll link it down below. I haven't set it up for this channel yet, so if you want to support us even further, do that. It's kind of all we got. Our gym dog's asleep.
He's snoring.
See ya.
Ew.
I'm not gonna smell your shoes.
They smell great.
I